Hello, today we're talking about graphing linear functions, slope-intercept form. The slope-intercept form is the more common form that you're going to see. It's in y equals mx plus b, and by its name you have a slope and a y-intercept. So my m is my slope. So to find slope on a graph, you'd use rise over run. To use the slope formula, equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I have other videos over this you can go watch to help you out find slope. I'm not going to go over too much in this video. That b is your y-intercept. There you go. Slope, intercept. The intercept is where it crosses on the y-axis. So if I have this right here, and I say that's at 2, and this is my line. All right, my y-intercept is at 0, 2, because it's where it crosses the y-axis. Your x will always be 0. All right, and that is the basics. Now let's get into some problems. All right, now we're going to graph this. All right, so the first thing you use in the slope-intercept form, if you watch the other point-slope one, in point-slope, use the point that you find from the point-slope. In the slope-intercept, you use the y-intercept first. As I just told you in the beginning, this number here is your y-intercept. But what is the x always going to be in a y-intercept? 0. So I know my point to start with is 0, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, my slope is my rise over run. So the way I'm going to write this is, since I need a rise over run, I'm going to do 3 over 1. Because any number can be written over 1. So if I had 5 or negative 5, I could write that as negative 5 over 1. If I had 36, I could write that as 36 over 1. It just gives you your run in the end. You're going to go over 1. A lot of times you have fractions like 1/9. That's your rise, that's your run. The shape you're looking at is positive and negative. This is important. All right, so my slope is 3, or I'm going to rise up 3 and run over 1. The run is dependent on if it's negative or positive slope. All right, so it doesn't matter which way I rise. I can go down 3. I'll even go both ways for you with the slope. So I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I rose down 3. Now I'm going to run. I have to run over 1. When I run over 1, this depends on if it's negative or positive. So my slope is a positive number, positive 3. So I want this line that I'm about to graph to look like this. So which way would I go? If I went to the right, that would make it look like this. So I want to go 1 over to the left. And then just connect the dots. There you go. And that is how you graph something in slope-intercept form. It's understanding the rise and the run that makes this important, and the starting point. Same thing with point-slope, which was in a different video. It's always understanding how to do the slope and the starting point you have. That's how you graph a linear function. All right, graphing our next one, for example. So I'm going to say a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 0, 5. First thing I want to do is just show you how to write this in slope-intercept form. So y stays the same, and my x will stay the same, just like in point-slope. So my slope is 2, my y-intercept is 0, 5, so it's 5. Take this, and that's how you write it in slope-intercept form. So now let's graph it. I have my starting point of 0, 5. Now I have a slope of 2, which is 2 over 1, which is my rise over my run. So it's positive, so my line is going to look like this. All right? So this time, last time I went down, this time I'll go up. So I'm going to rise up 2. All right, so am I going to go left or right? So if I go to the left, does that line look like this line? No. So I need to go 1 to the right and connect the dots. There you go. That is this graph. Again, understand your starting point understanding rise over run, and the positive and negative is how you graph these. All right, for our next example, just like the last one, slope of -6, y-intercept of 2, how I'd write this, just like that. Right, if that was -2, that'd be -2 in the back. So 0, 2 is my starting point, so right there, slope of -6. All right, so this is -6 over 1, rise over a run. Now what is it gonna look like? Positive or negative? Our line should look like this when we're done. Not exactly like that, because your slope will change depending on what your number is here. But that's the general idea. It should be like, if your grades go from here to here, that's a bad thing, so negative. If your grades go from here to here, that's a good thing, positive. All right, so I'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I want my line to look like this, so I'm gonna go to the right one. And I'm gonna connect the dots. There we go, that's a little bit better. There you go, and that's this graph. All right, for this example, we're gonna go backwards. I have the graph here. Now I need to know what the slope-intercept form is of this. So I need to know my slope and my y-intercept. The y-intercept's the easiest, just because you can look to see where it crosses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It crosses at -5. Simple enough. And now we need to find the slope. So I already have 2 points. Now I have to figure out what those points are. So 1, 2, 3, -3, -2, and -2, -3. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can use the slope formula, or if you have a graph, you can just count. So my rise over my run. So how many did I rise to get from this point to this point? Well, I rose 1, or I went down 1. How many did I run over? 1. So your answer is 1. Is that the correct answer? No, because you have to look at the shape of the graph. Is it in the positive direction? No, it's in the negative. So my slope is actually -1. Always remember this. As long as you know if it's negative or positive, the slope part isn't that hard. All right, this has been graphing linear functions, slope-intercept form. I hope it helped, Dan.